This is The Guardian, who's been coming up with some wild stuff. I just want to say, if we're living in a world where toxic masculinity is like the number one problem, right?
Which it is.
And then we have articles like this. It says, the phallic necktie is an outdated symbol of white male rule in New Zealand's parliament. Mm-hmm. So if you came from a different era or something, and you go, what should I know about 2021? And you go, Trump was president. That was kind of crazy. Toxic masculinity is completely out of control.
Big issue.
We've gotten to the point where we're banning ties because they're too masculine.
Yep.
You go,
I mean, it's funny that they say...
Wait a second.
Yeah.
I thought you just said toxic masculinity is out of control. Be like, well, this is how we're trying to get a handle on it.
Banning ties.
If you look at a society, they go, men shouldn't have to wear ties anymore. No more ties for men because they're too phallic. And you go, yeah, this masculinity is what's fucking gone wild.
That's true. It's weird too because they say specifically, they make the point that it's in New Zealand's parliament. You're like, but they wear ties everywhere.
Gayland.
But it's like, is this an issue in...
Gay land of the fucking gays.
Is this an issue everywhere or just in New Zealand? Because they wear ties everywhere.
Gaylordland.
Wah!
Yeah. Hypocrisy, Socrates, philosophies. That's a number one issue right now with articles
It's
like
ties.
this.
You go, don't make us wear a tie.
Professor Claire Robinson. So you always like it when I tell you what the author is.
I love it.
So,
it gives you a little bit of color.
Professor Claire Robinson is a pro-vice chancellor of the College of Creative Arts.
Pro-vice, like the magazine?
Yeah, she's just pro-vice.
She's pro-vice.
She's the chancellor of the
Vice.
College of Creative Arts at Massey University, but she's the pro-vice.
Yep.
But like, think about this. So again, we're going to do an article about, so we're going to talk about this also on the Patreon, but the idea that men aren't going to college at as much rates or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you look at universities, and because I've been talking about this in the past, but I'm going to go through a bigger thing and to not cover it again kind of here. But if you look at universities and you go, men aren't going to universities as much. And then you go, this is what the professors think. If you're a professor of university and you're writing articles about why ties are sexist,
Yeah.
and then you go, why aren't men wanting to participate in this?
It's so crazy how far
Because it's stupid.
Yeah. Also, like, you would have you thought there would have been like a not that long ago where you'd come in all shabby and they're like, put a tie on. Now
Right.
you come in like all fucking proper and they're like, take that tie off.
Masculine much. Whoa, calm down.
Just wear a fucking garbage bag.
That's what they want. So yeah, but you go, this is what university professors are up to. Taking her free time to research, to write a fucking expose on ties.
Ties and how they're...
There's
bad.
only one tie that the boys need to worry about, and that's Domi. Because he's about to drop the fucking gloves when he sees the Guardian.
Imagine he shows up to her office. He goes, I heard you had a problem with ties, lady. She goes, what? He fucking just beats the shit out of her. He goes, heard you don't like ties.
You want to get me banned?
I took that fucking personal, came all the way down here from fucking London, Ontario.
You fucking think.
A lot of people were upset with me for fucking saying by the way, it was exported greens. And they go, man,
Yeah, I know.
why'd you have to pick Sudbury? Some people like the Sudbury shout out. And some people are like, we're not all like that in Sudbury.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sudbury's fucking smoking the green death's well dip and chew.
Yeah, I know.
This is university. That's what's going on. Now, let me ask you a question before we move on.
Yeah.
Is the piano tie still sexist?
Good question.
That's a good question.
Yes. Yes, I'm going to go with yes.
A piece of clothing that echoes the cod piece is designed to promulgate white male power should be optional. So the Guardian's going hard this week with ties are racist. And they said, if there was ever a year to change New Zealand's anarchistic, she likes her big word.
Anachronistic.
So this is her using her university fucking professorness.
Yeah, you just got to put that shit to work.
Anachronistic parliamentary tie code. It should be 2021. And why are women policing our outfits is kind of another question that I'm
policing
having.
our bodies. That's fucked up.
Policing our bodies, policing our piano tie wearing. policing my ability to do that fun joke where you pretend the tie's your tongue to impress chicks at the bar. You know, that one you roll up your tie.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go, what's up, ladies? It's a very uncle at a wedding trick where you do that and you go, "Boo-ah?" And then the ladies generally just beg to suck it after you do that.
Yeah, so we're going to go your place or mine? Yeah, just go to the bathroom.
Also, in this era, these things are always specifically so funny where the situation right now for the last 2 years has been they shut down every business. People weren't allowed to leave their houses. The stock market crashed. So many people aren't in the workforce. And someone comes in and they go, good news. We got great news. You go, what is it? We're almost getting ties banned.
It is amazing what some people kind of make their thing, you know, that where they like the way the lens they look at the world, where there's so much going on. They go, you know what my beef is? Ties.
They're just looking at the guy in Parliament being like, you fucking pig.
You know what her probably answer is? She goes, you know what the real answer to this is? Everybody just across the board has to wear female pantsuits. Like
that's what future does
Hillary
look like
Clinton's
sometimes.
Female pantsuits for everybody. No ties. Shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Even if you're a dude.
She goes, white male MPs, the most likely demographic to wear a tie. I was kind of looking into this again. And yeah, you're right. Like in the Middle East, they don't wear this kind of stuff. Like China wears ties. Like their parliament wears ties.
Of course. Every country, even if you go to Africa, I'm sure.
Yeah, they all wear suits.
Yeah, they all wear. I mean, not all of them, but like.
Well, I guess because they're ponying up for the white man.
Yeah, it's because it's the colonialism.
Xing Shang Zhu in China doesn't realize that he's fucking supporting imperialism
and white supremacy.
And white supremacy with his piano tie.
You know what I didn't realize? I don't know if you're going to get to it, but actually, just go on.
The demographic most likely to wear a necktie are now a minority. So the white people are now a minority, but they're still enforcing their white ties on. That's why the Chinese, the president of China, the chancellor, whatever you call him of China, the reason why he wears a tie is because this white minority in England is telling them they have to. She's like, it's almost, it shows they're always racism where they're like, the Chinese people don't want to show up to Congress in a tie. They would like to wear a rice outfit.
Yeah, those conical hats.
Yeah,
they're like, nah.
Yeah. That's what they think. They're like, I'm fighting for the right to Chinese people to wear a Raiden hat to Parliament.
And they're like, yeah, this tie's like fucking from Chanel. This thing was like $900.
I don't wear a Raiden hat. I think that Middle Eastern people should be able to show up to Parliament in their dresses. And they go, listen, I didn't grow up there. I don't really need to. I grew up in like the UK. Yeah. I went to school in London. I don't think I need to wear my native garb. The African hats and the beat. Like, I guess that would be a flex if you're like a black guy that grew up in London. You're in London Parliament and you show up every day in the dashiki and the whatever.
And you're just
Pelosi
like,
wear.
and you're literally like, just fucking tell me.
I
fucking dare you to tell me I can't wear this. And they're like, oh, we have a tie rule, sir.
Just more ridiculous every
Your
single
Majesty
day.
Says we need to wear a tie.
They have to show up Will Smith style where they do the tie around their head. And, you know, when they go, they said we couldn't wear a tie. They said we had to wear a tie, but they didn't say how we had to wear a tie.
Yeah, exactly.
And he wears it on his head.
Yeah.
Big move from WS. Big Willie Styles.
Big Willie Styles.
Also a fucking lyrical miracle.
Lyrical miracle.
So they go, the white male MPs, and they go, for some, Millard, who has previously said he personally loathed wearing a tie, apparently he's made a decision to stick with the tie rule. So there's a guy in Parliament.
Because of white supremacy?
Yeah, but well, he doesn't even
He goes, I hate ties, but I love white supremacy.
He's in a pickle.
Got to meet in the middle.
He's in a pickle.
Yep.
He does. He really hates ties, but he loves white supremacy. Because that's what they said. They go, basically, this guy's in charge of Parliament. And then they said they did a vote. And then they said, what do you think personally? He says, I don't like wearing a tie that much. Yeah, but the vote, everyone voted and they still made a tie. So a significant majority of members who still responded and opposed any change to the dress standards for debating chamber. They must, after they had that vote, though, you have to imagine some people were, first Brexit and now the tie law got shut down.
There were some probably tie shops near their Parliament building who were like, whew, they were watching that really carefully. This might be the end for us, boys.
It is one of those things where...
You think the Thai lobby got to them at all?
The Thai, big Thai.
You think the Thai lobby in New Zealand was like being like, back alley deals, meeting in the back of a bar, just like fucking envelope full of New Zealand dollars,
envelope full of Thai gifts.
Be like, he goes like real like House of Cards shit, where he goes, tomorrow you're gonna make sure that this fucking doesn't pass. We're wearing ties.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna be allowing Thai food in the meetings. Thai Domi is going to be at all Parliament meetings in the New Zealand.
Imagine it's a total inept thing, and they go, and then I'm going to put it forth there, all the food in the Parliament is Thai food. And they go, no, wrong thing.
We gave you $1 million under the table.
We're idiots.
So they're policing our outfits.
I will say one thing that I did not know. Mostly we do these articles, and most of the time I'm like, this is nonsense. I learned nothing from this. This is just nonsense, right? But one thing I did not know is because it says in the article, it says the necktie echoes the shape of the cod piece, which is, I think, the dick thing or whatever. And it says that...
Did you see the correction at the end of the article?
No.
Okay.
Oh, is it not true? Oh, fuck off. Because it says, because it literally goes...
Dude, I'm not
Oh,
kidding.
my God. So it goes, designed 500 years ago to emphasize a European nobleman's importance through his large phallic size. It is arrow-shaped and directs the eyes of an onlooker down towards a man's groin. And I was like, I didn't know that the tie was an arrow pointing to your cock.
There is a correction at the end of that article that says she was mistaken. That's not what it's for.
I was like, I read that. I go, no shit. I go, because it is like an arrow pointing at your cock.
She had to correct that part of the artitle. I'm so happy you brought that up.
That is so funny.
She fucking said, she goes, the reason for the tie is for dudes. They put a...
like, it's the opposite of woman. It's like guys talking to a woman 200 years ago. He goes, my cock's down here.
It was the original The Man, the Legend. The tie was supposed to be the original The Man, the Legend t-shirt. So it was a big fucking hog pointed down. And then it's like the look girl's like, oh, I like your tie. And you go, there's another one down there.
You go, look where the arrow's pointing.
You like a big fucking piece of sausage on my neck? How would you like my second piece of sausage on your neck? Down your neck.
That's
fucking nuts.
That sucks. That was like, I would go, I actually learned something. And then.
No, you learned wrong.
Yeah.
They corrected that. They had to fucking do a correction in their article that says, oh, yeah, they didn't make ties to fucking tell girls that they have fucking massive pipes.
Yeah.
Well,
because that's what they were concerned with, 400 years ago when they invented the tie.
I know.
You know what? We need to figure out a way for women to look.
The one guy with a big hog in the city needed to let the girls know.
Like literally before there was any sort of laws on consent or rape or anything, they go, hey, we gotta get ties.
It's nuts. There's a university professor. This is what she's up to. She must have been so pissed when that vote didn't go through.
Yeah.
Brexit, Trump, and the tie law got fucking shut down. She must have
Big tie wins again, man.
Big tie will always prevail.
You can't beat big tie.
A fabric flapper pouch designed 500 years ago to emphasize the nobleman's importance. Yeah, that's the one that they had to strike down. If that was the case for me, if that was the case, though, everyone, you remember long shirts? Everyone should be walking around with a tie down to the ground. You fucking... You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like rolling, just like dragging it. It's like a fucking wedding dress, like the train. It's like 40 feet behind you.
Yeah.
Every
single guy is just walking around with his tie dragging like 20 feet back.
Literally, if
nine guys carrying your tie into the club.
If that was true, every floor on Earth would be fucking spotless.
From all the tie drags.
From all the tie dragging.
So today, the tie remains an enduring symbol of white male supremacy, serving to maintain white male values and standards as the norm. Well, if that's the case, do you think the Grand Wizard is watching this being like, all I had to wear was a tie? I got this stupid-ass hat on.
Yeah, I know.
I'm wearing a fucking wizard gown when all I needed was a fucking necktie to let everyone know that I'm a white supremacist?
Maybe they could add a tie.
They should definitely put a tie on. They should have two ties.
What about a bow tie?
I don't know if bow tie is white.
Bow tie's not, because it's not pointing at the package. Bow tie seems like the bow tie is actually not that white because the fucking Nation of Islam took the bow tie.
Yeah, my hockey coach made us wear ties, which I now know is fucked up. But
Why?
Well,
because of the white supremacy.
yeah, well, now
Yeah.
I know that it's fucked up, and he's probably a pedophile. He goes,
It's interesting too because I read today that in the NHL, because the NHL is the only league that still makes the players do like the whole suit and tie thing. It's like mandatory.
Yeah.
And they're now talking about relaxing it so they can all dress cool like basketball players and stuff.
probably cooler showing up to the game cool. But that's an old tradition in hockey.
But
for
they're getting
sure.
rid of it.
An old white male tradition.
It is an old white male tradition, and they're getting rid of it. It's going by the wayside.
I hated having to wear it. I mean,
All the players say straight up, they're like, "Yeah, it was fun. You know, you like wearing the tie once." And
I
then
mean,
you're
this
like,
is one of those things where I think these people are morons. And if you go to, if I was in any sort of working in any sort of proximity to these people, and a girl comes in and she's like, "Hey, I'm organizing a vote and we're trying to get rid of the tie," I'll be like, "Don't you have stuff to do?
no.
Do you not have anything to do?" That all being said, if I was, going to private school, working in parliament, and they said, "Hey, no, guys can wear whatever they want now," I would be like, "Sweet."
Yeah, for sure. Me too. I'm like, I hate that shit.
Yeah, no one wants to wear this stuff.
Yeah,
But they're still morons.
yeah.
Girls get to wear whatever they want. Although there is something nice about the simplicity of not having to worry, and not having to worry about what you work. It's the
Yeah,
Steve Jobs thing.
Yeah, you pick one tie and.
You just wear the same thing every day, has some simplicity. I do get that. So
But it's not, because people then they have like, my dad wore a suit and tie to work every day and he has like fucking 90 suits.
right, but they're all that you're just picking. I have 90 black shirts, but I still just go pick a black shirt.
That's true.
So there is something. If they say, like the hockey players right now, they don't have to think about what they're wearing to the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just put the suit on. Whereas now they switch it. They go, you got to wear a certain, you can wear whatever you want. Now they're like, oh, do I dress cool? Do I dress like a nerd? Do I wear they have to think about it.
That's true.
It is another thing to
Well,
think
I think
about.
when they're rich though, they all do have tons of suits. They're trying to figure out how to like gussy up the suit. It's like, oh, do I do a weird hat? That's all you can really add to it is, do I wear a vest?
Yeah. Right?
Not a lot of options.
Well, they said in December 2020, newly elected party co-leader Rawawa Walatiti on giving his maiden, so they call one of the things in Parliament a maiden speech in Parliament, which they did a brackets and they said another anachronistic term that requires interrogation. So she's in her article and she goes, she has other problems. The tie. She started on the tie, but she's about to branch off to the other terms.
She has a lot of issues.
Removed his necktie after speaking out about Tipuna, who was wrongly convicted of a crime. So big protest from this guy. He took his tie off.
Yeah. Imagine you're in fucking New Zealand. You're like, yeah, we
Quite the protest.
You're like, every time we have one new case of COVID, we lock down the entire country, and then you flip on fucking Parliament, and they're like, ties are bad.
Yeah.
This is what's important to deal with right now. And they're like, hey, we have like a real crisis with our country with
Exactly.
like COVID, and they're like, ties.
And the last sentence is, forms of clothing and body adornment allow people the ability to project how the world sees them and how they see themselves in their place in the world. So this is a girl thing. Obviously, It's like, you get to show the world who you are. It really is. You should be able to, it's the boss in Office Space. You need to be able to show your flair.
The flair, yeah.
And imagine, you think she goes, we ban ties, and you show up with a tie, and she'll go, well, we said you didn't have to wear the tie, but you're still wearing it.
Well, I thought it was my choice, though. And you go, okay.
A lot of
All
things
right.
that these people say is their choice. They really don't think it's your choice. 2021 should be a time when our democracy is enabling, not preventing members of parliament with other worldviews, genders, and values. Girls can already wear whatever they want and values to express and respect and their political ideals and values through other non-Western, non-male forms of clothing, attire, and decoration. So every society does have their thing. Like in Arab politics, they still do have a dress code. It's just their other dress
Yeah, it's
code.
their dress code.
But anyways, the moral of the story is
Their dress
these
code is
people have
literally a
nothing-
dress.
Their dress code.
Is a dress.
Dress
It's a very literal dress
It's a-
code. The code is the dress.